We know that Sony intends on bringing more first-party PlayStation games to PC, and now we may have an indication as to what the next title will be that will migrate over. Ghost of Tsushima. Website Video Game Chronicle revealed that Ghost of Tsushima's box art has subtly changed on the game's product pages on sites ranging from PlayStation's own digital storefront to Amazon. It used to say only on PlayStation in the upper right corner, as many PS exclusives do. However, that's no longer seen on the reprinted art. Website Push Square points out that this is extremely relevant, as Sony previously pulled only on PlayStation from the box art for both Horizon Zero Dawn and Days Gone, first-party games that ended up coming to PC. It's worth noting that this could likewise indicate it's coming to PS5 instead, as Miles Morales and Sackboy: A Big Adventure haven't been released on PC, are available on both PS4 and PS5, and don't have that tagline on their boxes either. Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima launched in the late summer of 2020 and was widely considered one of the best games of the year. Sucker Punch was previously known for its Sly Cooper and Infamous series. Should Ghost of Tsushima migrate to PC, as seems likely, it'll be the third first-party game to migrate following Guerrilla's Horizon last year and Days Gone earlier this year, as well as second-party titles like Death Stranding, launched on PC last year, and Quantic Dreams and that game company's respective trilogies too. This is a little bit unexpected, Chris, because we did not think that... I kept saying I thought God of War was the next obvious one. It seems like this is all but inevitable now. I guess a timing is all that matters. And I wonder how people are going to feel about this if it's true, because this is pretty close to launch. In fact, as of the time we're talking about this, Ghost of Tsushima hasn't even been out for a year. So what do you think? Do you think there's something to this? It seems like where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah, no, I think so. I honestly think God of War was the obvious thing, but even that had like a caveat to it where, God of War, and I know I've said this before, and people think it doesn't matter, but I do think the history of these franchises are important to consider when porting to PC. I think that's why we saw Days Gone and Horizon, because they were new. People didn't have, a decade of previous games to like not experience, to jump into this new thing and then wonder like, wait, who are these people? What am I doing? What is this world? Who are these characters? Am I supposed to know this? I think that's why those games were chosen specifically, like Death Stranding, Days Gone, and Horizon. And God of War was always a weird one because it's a soft reboot, but it's still a continuation of what happened before. So I was always wondering like, oh, will they do that? And even like we were talking about not too long ago, about Uncharted 4 coming and how confusing that was, given how many other Uncharted games are just unavailable to that audience. I think Ghost of Tsushima makes sense because, again, this is a new IP. This is not something that people have to feel like, oh, I gotta play this and that, or I gotta dig up a PS3 to get this old game running just to know what the hell is going on. I think this is definitely going to happen. Like without a doubt. And, I actually wonder about like God of War and Uncharted and things like that are more storied and kind of have more of a legacy on console. Like I think those are more in question as opposed to these new IPs that have been brought to the PS4. I think that's part of the equation.
It's an interesting perspective. What do you think, Dustin, about this? Do you think it's telling us something?
It could. It's weird. We maybe too much say where there's smoke, there's fire, but this news also kind of dovetails in with there's like rumors of a standalone expansion for Ghost going around today that I don't know if they're worth giving any credence to, because I can't verify the people that have leaked them. Like this guy at Dealer Gaming, he's got like 22K. He says Ghost of Tsushima expanding to new horizons. And then someone else chimed in and said that it's an expansion called Ghost of Ikishima.
Yeah. Which is a small island off of the coast of that other island.
Right. And so it's interesting. At the same time, I think that PlayStation Direct was selling Ghost of Tsushima for $10 the other day. Like, so, and they changed the box, and then there's these rumors. So
well, that's why I think they were selling them for $10 is I think they might have been getting rid of the old ones.
Oh, yeah. True. Yeah. But this, like, without this info of the box, if someone said, hey, Ghost of Tsushima is the next one, I'd be like, no, because that one just came out.
Yeah,
and it's a reason, like, it's so good on PS5 that it's maybe and it's amazing on PS4 as well. But this is one that could still be, a bullet list game for someone to buy a PlayStation console. So for them to bring it to PC very quickly would be different than how they've operated previously with
Yes.
these
Mhm.
PC games.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
I would agree.
who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm compelled by what Chris is saying about maybe they're because he's right. Horizon, Days Gone, these are low risk ports, really. Ghost of Tsushima, kind of a low risk port as well. Also, might help make the online multiplayer more vibrant. We've heard a little bit. I didn't include it in the write ups because it's not that big. But Axios had a quote from Jim Ryan saying that they are going to go way further into crossplay, and they have much more to announce there. So you can imagine Ghost of Tsushima's multiplayer being crossplay at some point, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And maybe doing that with upcoming factions and all of the rest. And obviously what seems to be the second party multiplayer games that they've announced from these teams that have just been created. But it is interesting to think that there are examples of the boxes existing without that tagline in which they come to PS4 and PS5. And so it could be that they're telling us a native PS5 version of the game is coming too. So it could be like one thing or the other. And we don't really know. I know that we've made the I know that, well, I was going to say, Chris, this might be what you were going to say. You can tell me. We've kind of made the point, or I think you've made it more compellingly, that they're not going to do that. Like that there's no need to bring these late PS4 games over. They can just patch them.
Yeah, well, especially just because it just runs so beautifully on PS5 as is. Like, I don't see what improvements they could really make. Although, if there is this weird kind of, if this rumor is accurate and there is this like Ghost of Ikishima kind of like, story DLC perhaps, if that is true and they put out like an Ultimate Edition or like a more complete Ghost of Tsushima edition on PS5, that I could believe. That makes more sense to me as something that could potentially happen if that's real. But just porting base Ghost of Tsushima to PS5, I don't think would make a ton of sense. Like, if it's going to be ported, it would have to be because something else is coming that either couldn't run on PS4 or can, but fuck it, let's get something on PS5 exclusively. That is potentially possible. One thing I will say is, when I say Ghost of Tsushima is coming to PC, I don't think necessarily that it's coming soon or immediately. I just know that this is eventually going to be on PC. Unlike things like Uncharted and Last of Us, and even, honestly, I'm thinking God of War might not either, but I think those are the safest bets for PlayStation to be like, hey, let's dip our toes into the PC ecosystem. These are, IP that are new, that are not, that don't require a lot of investment into our old hardware and like a bunch of old games that people don't have access to anymore. Let's just get people hooked on the PlayStation, into the PlayStation ecosystem with these perfect jumping in points. And maybe that'll lead to something down the road. Maybe they pick up a console to get first dibs on like the sequel. And, I think that's generally the strategy. So I don't think this is like soon or anything, but mark my words, Ghost of Tsushima will come to PC. Like, absolutely, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think the timing is going to be relevant to allaying people's fears or not. In the fan base that don't want this for some reason. I still feel like maybe we're getting closer and closer, because I don't believe anything Jim Ryan really says, to be honest. He's already kind of bent the truth about a few other things. Whether or not things are mobile and change or not is another thing entirely. But I think we're getting closer to the inflection point where some of these games are just going to start coming to PC immediately. And then I wonder what will, we're probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 years from that. I don't think it's going to stay like this forever. I think that they just keep moving the goalposts, and the goalposts seem getting closer and closer to them just playing nice with everyone, because and we saw that, by the way, with the Epic. They weren't FOIA'd, but obviously, but in the lawsuit with Epic and Apple, we saw these emails where Epic was basically telling Sony, like, just get over it already. Like, it's over, like it, with the cross-play stuff and everything. So we'll see. Maybe Sony is just a little bit of a relic in that way, but we'll find out soon enough, one way or the other, what the next game will be. And we'll also find out about that Ghost of Tsushima rumor, which I think is probably true, and wouldn't really be that big of a surprise for a studio like Sucker Punch. They obviously supported their last Infamous game, Second Son, with a really awesome expansion called First Light. So they've been there before. And I think that they were the first team to really ever make expansion DLC for a first party game. I have to think about that carefully. But with the original, or I'm sorry, with Infamous 2, they did Festival of Blood, which was a Halloween themed thing. They usually didn't do that to their games. So they've been here before.